Yo, it's your boy Dctree, and this is Dctree-Nation, the channel on YouTube that covers hoops and heroes. And today we're talking hoops. We talking Tony Parker, y'all. He got a new documentary on Netflix, and as you know, one of the greatest Spurs fans in the world. I'm just joking, but as a Spurs fan, you know I had to check it out. Ever since The Last Dance, I was hoping they did a documentary with the Spurs, so I was excited. Woo! More excited than that. A little bit more. No. That's what I'm talking about. That's how excited I was. I'm talking about like dancing to hear about this documentary. I couldn't wait to watch it. So this is my review. But before I jump too deep into it, if you like my content, please sub to the channel. Okay, first off, I want to say that this video will have some spoilers, I guess. Can you spoil a documentary? Like, I don't know if you can spoil a documentary. Well, I'm not going to go into detail, so I might have some light spoilers. So I just put this in here so you guys won't beat me up in the comments. All right, the first thing about the Tony Parker documentary that I did like was, you know, really just the setup, man. They had some really nice backgrounds. They had very good camera angles. They had a lot of shots with him like driving in the car, which I thought was really smooth, really tranquil. So from a cinema standpoint, I thought they did a really good job. It does take some time to get used to it because, you know, of course, Tony Parker is bilingual. So you got to kind of make this documentary for, you know, France and for Americans. For the French and Americans, so it was a little jarring. You know, some of it had subtitles and some of it didn't. So, but after a while, after about 10 to 15 minutes, you get used to that and you kind of get the flow to it. Okay, but about the documentary itself, you know, just having a peek into Tony Parker's mansion, and oh my goodness, the Batmobile, not the Batmobile, but the Batcave fingerprint reader throne room he has with all his jerseys and all his awards, man. It was freaking awesome, man. I was in awe. Wow. I kind of like the fact that the documentary did start with that room because it just reminded us how successful this guy has been, not just with the San Antonio Spurs, but ever since he was a kid. And that was one of the powerful things about this documentary. They had a lot of behind the scenes footage from when he was a little boy. I'm talking about when he was hooping at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 16. And that what made it special, you know, looking at that throne room that he had and all those medals. You know, it was more than just the NBA. Okay, it was just more than, you know, his all-star appearances, although he did have a shrine for his San Antonio Spurs rings, which I thought was pretty darn cool, man. But his international career was almost just as important as his NBA career. We focus on the NBA career, but man, this guy's story is epic, man. We don't give him enough credit, even as Spurs fans. And I felt like that when he was a player. I felt like Manu kind of outshined him because he was a little flashier. You get what I'm saying? But Tony Parker, man, he's on a whole nother level. His story is so enormous, so amazing, man. It's almost more amazing than Michael Jordan when you really think about it. This little short kid from France with a teardrop. He was doing that teardrop 11 years old. They showed it, the footage. With a teardrop, made it all the way to the NBA, all-star point guard several times now, NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP. Okay, this guy's stock is way up. I had to look back at his net worth. He's worth 85 million, which is really good. Okay, because right after, you know, his career ended, he went right into being a president for, you know, a French team. He went right into owning a women's team. Okay, he has this amazing deal with Peak Sneakers in China. I didn't realize he was that big in China. He is huge in China. So I love that the documentary gave us these insights on TP outside of the NBA, outside of the league. And they definitely had, you know, enough information or enough footage from within, you know, his NBA highlights and whatnot. They probably could have had a little bit more of that, but it really worked out, man. It really worked out. Another aspect of the documentary that was very satisfying and very insightful was just the relationship and the brotherhood Tony Parker had with Dial, had with your boy Ronnie from the Lakers. They really grew up together, and they had a lot of behind the scene footage, like I said before, and they really just brought this whole journey of Tony Parker's full circle, very full circle. Also, one of the best moments of the entire documentary, and my personal favorite part, was the Kobe parts, man. Rest in peace, Kobe, man. We all miss you. And it was just great seeing Kobe give so much love to the Spurs and Tony Parker. Like, I had no idea that he respected Tony Parker this much. The fact that he was even willing to do the interview was huge, man. And just seeing him talk basketball, talk hoops, and give homage to my favorite team was awesome, man. Just seeing him on screen made me feel like, I'm not even joking, y'all, man. It was my favorite part of the whole documentary, if I'm being honest, man. You know, he wasn't in there a lot, but he was in there just enough, man, to make it special. Make it special. I kind of felt like they had a whole lot of David Robinson in this documentary, which isn't a bad thing, but I wish I heard from Tim just a little bit more. You get what I'm saying? Heard from Manu just a little bit more. Also, this whole documentary was really family focused. You get what I'm saying? His kids were in the documentary, his wife was in the documentary, and it was very bittersweet because unfortunately we all know that he recently had a divorce, got a divorce from his wife. So it was just awkward kind of seeing them so happy and together and seeing him interact with them and now know that they're divorced. I don't know if the documentary was just made way before the divorce happened, which is likely, but I would have liked to see Tony Parker address it. You get what I'm saying? And I know that's a very sensitive topic, but I think that would have made things more interesting. And speaking of addressing things, you know, they did have Eva Longoria in the documentary, like footage of her, but, you know, Tony Parker didn't address it, man. I feel like he should have addressed it. I mean, you can kind of give the audience hints of what happened without telling your business. But I get it's personal. It's personal. I respect that. But if you're trying to make the documentary stand out and sizzle, talking about your divorce just a little bit and talking about, you know, your relationship with Eva just a little bit would have been huge. It would have promoted it a lot better. So, you know, unfortunately, you know, he's gotten a divorce from his current wife. So it was kind of sad to see. Another aspect of the documentary that I thought they could have improved on, and I mentioned it earlier, more Manu interviews, even more Pop. It wasn't a whole lot of Popovich in this. Not as much as I would have thought. Okay, he was there and he had the sound bites and it worked out, but I thought he would be in a lot more. Okay, and I know him and Popovich had some really personal moments, so maybe they didn't want that on film either, which I can't say I blame them. Another thing they kind of skimmed over was the whole Jason Kidd rivalry thing. If you've been a Spurs fan for a while, in 2003, the Spurs they made a pitch to Jason Kidd, you know, to get Jason Kidd on the team, and Jason Kidd turned them down. I wonder how Tony felt about that. This would have been a perfect time to bring that up, and just, you know, he doesn't have to, you know, wildly criticize the Spurs, but just talk about how he felt about that. They kind of skimmed over that. And then the Kawhi situation, that would have been great if he would have just said something, because they did have a lot of rehab footage from Tony Parker's injury, which was very similar to Kawhi's, more severe. So if he would have brought that up, maybe that would have added a little more sizzle to the documentary. But don't get me wrong, I totally understand why he didn't talk about any of those topics, okay? But I'm just being a critiquer here, and it was a pretty good documentary overall. So I recommend Spurs fans watch it. I recommend basketball fans watch it. It's very inspiring. Like I said, I'm not saying Tony Parker is better than Michael Jordan. I'm not saying that. But his journey from France all the way to America, and with his size and strength level, is really quite amazing. You get what I'm saying? MJ is the greatest player of all time, but, you know, he went to North Carolina and, you know, he had some breaks. Not saying his story isn't great either, but man, coming from France, that's almost an impossible shot. And to be kind of like the mogul on mogul status that Tony Parker is on now is very special. So overall, I thought the documentary did really well of reminding us who Tony Parker was and who he's becoming. Like, he's still making money in China. He's still making big bucks in France. he's still team president. He's still building that skill set. He's still getting better. Don't be surprised if you see him as president of the Spurs one day. You get what I'm saying? Don't be surprised, because he's working hard, building that skill set. A lot of late night footage of him watching his team play. A lot of interactions with people. A lot of, rah-rah type of speeches he gives his players when he was on the international squad as a president for his team now, for his French team now. Really good documentary, Spurs fans. Go check this out. So I have to give it 8.5 out of 10. That's my score, baby. That's my score. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Let me know in the comment section how you felt about the documentary, or if you haven't seen it yet, do you plan on watching it? Check out the other videos on the channel. Don't forget about that superhero playlist I got on the channel too, if you're into heroes. Thanks again, guys. Peace.